Coming up, a Walt Disney World news update. Hi guys, it's David here from Beyond the Kingdoms, reporting in with the latest news from Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando. Now, just last week, Universal opened its theme parks and select hotels to some guests. There's definitely some new rules and policies in place, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later. But first, we have some announcements from Walt Disney World, including the plan to reopen the parks in phases starting in July. Now, the details on this are going to change rapidly. There'll probably be updates from the moment of when I recorded this to the time it goes up. So please stay tuned in the future for more updates. So let's start by taking a look at this first wave of announcements from Walt Disney World. Back on May 27th, Senior Vice President of Operations at Walt Disney World, Jim McPhee, presented Disney's proposal for a phased reopening of the resort to the Orange County Economic Recovery Task Force. The plan has since been approved by Mayor Jerry Demings and the Governor of the Sunshine State. Disney has announced that it will begin reopening the park starting on July 11th. Of course, everything is always subject to change, but the plan right now is to have the Magic Kingdom and Disney's Animal Kingdom open up first on July 11th, followed by Epcot and Disney's Hollywood Studios a few days later on July 15th. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of new rules and policies in place when the parks reopen. The parks will operate at a reduced capacity. I believe the number is going to sit around 30%, but I don't have that officially confirmed. For a reference, that could possibly be lower than the capacity Magic Kingdom operates at for special events such as Not So Scary and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Of course, Disney has never officially stated how many tickets they sell to these events, but the parties have certainly increased the number of tickets sold in recent years, so this reduced capacity limit could be less than that. Everyone will be subject to a temperature screening before entering, and all guests ages 2 and up will be required to wear a mask throughout their visit to the parks. However, similar to what Universal has already done, there'll be breathing spaces where guests can go to a quiet zone so they can take off their mask and take a break. Where these will be exactly located is unclear at this moment. Now, even though the parks will reopen soon, not all of the offerings will be up and running in this first phase. Disney has stated that there'll be no parades, nighttime spectaculars such as fireworks, or character meet and greets. Although I wouldn't be surprised if you see characters stationed in unique locations throughout the park. This would allow guests to at least see them and take a photo of them from a distance. And to add to that, character meals will not take place in this initial phase. But I'm sure we will learn more specifics in the coming weeks. But the most important part of this announcement is the fact that Disney will soon introduce a new reservation system for all guests who are wishing to enter the parks. How far in advance guests will be able to make these reservations and who gets priority is yet to be determined. But that does take me to my next point. Now, you're probably wondering, how does this affect existing reservations? Well, we've got some updates in that department too. Since the parks are going to be running at a reduced capacity, Disney has decided to cancel all FastPass Plus, dining, and experience reservations in the near future. And to be clear, that does include dining reservations at the hotels. Additionally, Disney has announced that extra magic hours will be suspended until further notice. Essentially, everything's going to be running on a first-come, first-served basis. Everything standby, and in a way that could make things a little bit easier to navigate once you're inside. This choice has been made for several reasons. For example, eliminating a FastPass queue at attractions will make it easier for cast members to keep guests 6 feet apart while they wait in the standby line. Removing dining reservations also simplifies things tremendously. Restaurants probably had more than 30% capacity booked months ago, so canceling all of the reservations just resets everything. I'm sure that since there'll be a dramatic less amount of people in the parks walking up to your favorite restaurant, shouldn't be too big of a problem. Additionally, Disney has announced that they will pause the sale of new theme park tickets and taking resort reservations. This is to prioritize and accommodate those with existing reservations. Now, I've had some viewers ask me how this pause in ticket sales affects the special events that are scheduled later in the year. Several weeks ago, Disney stopped taking new ticket purchases for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and whether or not the party will still take place at all or with reduced numbers has yet to be officially announced. Tickets for the Christmas party usually go on sale in the spring. Given that all the closures began in March, dates have not been announced, and tickets for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party have not gone on sale yet. In terms of hotels, some of you may have noticed that Disney's removed the ability to modify certain hotel reservations. This is temporary and only in place while Disney overhauls their entire reservation system. Some guests have reported that they've received communication from Disney directly asking them to reconfirm their hotel reservations for later in June and July. Now, I personally have a reservation for the start of August, and I've received official word from Disney that they will be waiving all cancellation fees and allowing guests to modify or cancel their reservation up until the day of check-in. This is going to be in place until October 3rd, 2020. Finally, some good news is that Disney has decided to extend the expiry date for guests who had date-specific tickets. Originally, if you had theme park tickets that had to be used between March and the end of the closure period, you had until the end of this year to still use those tickets. Now, those guests will have until September 26, 2021 to use those tickets instead. So if you've been thinking about moving your vacation to next year, that will certainly help things out a lot. Now, in today's news update, I have a new segment for you guys that I like to call our Creator Spotlight Series, showcasing other theme park creators from the community. And today, I'd like to introduce you to Corliss. Now, she is a Beyond the Kingdoms follower, but she has her own blog called Your Disney Homegirl. Corliss was part of the 2016 class of the Disney Parks Mom Panel, so she has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to answering your Disney World questions. And she's also gone on several Disney cruises. That's something that I have personally never done. Corliss collaborates with other content creators, she has a podcast, and discusses various topics such as the Disney dining plan, benefits of staying on Disney World property versus off property, and more. Your Disney Homegirl also features a contributing author, Tanisha Foster, who is an expert on food allergies. Since the parks are closed, Corliss has taken a brief break from creating theme park content, but she is gearing up to have some new content again starting in July. You can visit her website today by going to yourdisneyhomegirl.com and also following her on social media. You'll find her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, I'll leave links to all of these in the description below. Universal Orlando reopened to all guests on Friday, June 5th. This was after a few tests and previews with their team members and annual pass holders. Both theme parks at the resort and Volcano Bay are now open with tons of new rules, most of which we already saw when City Walk opened a few weeks ago. All guests must go through a temperature check upon arriving. This happens right in the parking garage before the moving walkways into City Walk. The park is, of course, running at limited capacity, and entrance is on a first-come, first-served basis. There's no reservation system, pass holders don't get priority over other guests, and it's all standby. Although I have seen reports that hotel guests still get to take advantage of the early admission into the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Like we all saw on the internet when World of Disney opened at Disney Springs, there was a mad dash at Universal during this preview period. The pass holder preview reached capacity limits quite quickly, but when the park opened on Friday to everyone, the numbers were significantly lower. And that's according to those who went themselves. In an effort to enforce social distancing throughout the parks, Universal has expanded its virtual line system, which was already available at Jimmy Fallon and Fast and the Furious. The service is now available at 6 additional attractions. Both Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey and Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure are running solely through a virtual line, as is Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Studios. Skull Island, Reign of Khan, Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, and Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts are all running like Jimmy Fallon and The Fast and the Furious, in that they both offer a regular standby line and the virtual queue. On top of expanding their virtual line service, Universal is also highly encouraging and expanding the mobile food order service, which allows guests to order food within the official Universal Orlando app on their phone. Guests can order food easily at the tip of their fingers and request a time to pick up their food at select quick service restaurants. Now, this system has been in place for some time now, but it is especially helpful right now in that it allows minimal contact with team members. No offense to Universal team members out there. The service is now available at most of the major quick service restaurants, such as Classic Monsters Cafe, Fast Food Boulevard in Springfield, and the Leaky Cauldron at Universal Studios, as well as Thunder Falls Terrace, Captain America Diner, and Circus McGurkus at Islands of Adventure. It's worth noting that the Three Broomsticks in Hogsmeade remains to be one of the very few dining spots not offering the service. Now, in my last news update, I talked about the possibility of the NBA coming to Disney, and that is now officially one step closer to reality. That's according to the NBA themselves. On June 5th, the NBA announced that the National Basketball Players Association have approved further negotiations to possibly restart the season in late July. This would be at Disney's Wide World of Sports complex on the southern end of the property. There's still a lot of details to iron out, and it's not a full go just yet. But the idea of the NBA coming to Walt Disney World would provide a place for the players to stay at while they're here and to have televised games, which would allow basketball fans to enjoy watching the season at home thanks to Disney World. There are also some rumors swirling around that Major League Soccer may also finish up the season at Wide World of Sports, but that has yet to be officially confirmed. And finally, over at Disney Springs, several shopping and dining locations have now reopened. Popular stores such as the World of Disney and the Marketplace Co-op opened a couple of weeks ago, and now locations such as the Lego store have also reopened. But it's worth noting that in that case, the play area, where kids could play and build their own structures, is not open. Dining locations that have also opened up their doors again include Paddlefish and House of Blues. Raglan Road has announced that it plans to reopen tomorrow on June 10th, as well as CityWorks over on the west side. For an up-to-date look at what has reopened at Disney Springs, head to BeyondTheKingdoms.com for more details. Now, like I said earlier, some of the details I mentioned today have probably already changed or will soon be updated. I'm going to keep giving you guys news updates every other Tuesday here on the channel, and give you some articles over on my website. But if you are deciding to go to the theme parks anytime soon, I'm just going to please ask you to follow the rules and remember to respect your fellow Disney fans and cast members, and your Universal fans as well. I know that for some of you, you're going to want to go to the theme parks to release some anxieties, and some of you are going to feel more comfortable going next year in 2021. I stand and respect both sentiments. I just ask you that when you go, please respect each other, follow the rules, and try to have some fun. Stay tuned later this week for a return of Foodie Fridays in a brand new way, but until then, please stay safe and healthy, and like I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it.